Using a 12 by 16 inch canvas already covered with a thin, even coat of liquid white, I'm going to grab some cad yellow on a 1-inch brush and pick out a spot on the canvas, kind of off center from the, you don't want to start out in the dead center, so a little bit over to the right or left, that's your decision, it's your world. And just making little X strokes. Apply in a circular motion. Using the same brush, now we're going to go load up with a little bit of yellow ochre and come back up with just plain yellow ochre. Just right around, using little X strokes again. Just go right around the cad yellow. Still haven't cleaned the brush. Now I'm going to come back now with just a little bit of bright red on the brush. Now that may look like a lot of red, but it's really not. It's not a lot of red at all on the brush. And just making little X strokes. And you can see I'm putting this on real loosely. You don't have to be real tight with it right now. And now with a little bit of lavender that I was made from mixing Prussian blue and a little red. We got just a tiny amount of lavender coming in there. Just right around the red. Just working it in the same way, just using those little X strokes. Still using the same 1-inch brush, and now we're just coming up here with straight Prussian blue. Using the same little X strokes. And just filling the rest of the canvas with the Prussian blue. Now I know that looks like a mess. It looks almost like you getting ready to enter that into a abstract world, but it all comes together. Now with a little bit of white on a clean, dry 1-inch brush, we're gonna come right back in the center of that yellow and start working out. Little X strokes, just working out from the center out. Now once you get these colors on your brush, these dark colors, you do not want to take them back into the center, because if you do, it's going to muddy it up and it's going to make it, it's not going to have that effect. You want it to be real bright right there in the center. Just using little X strokes now. I'm just going around, just blending them out. Just blending them out. That's all we're doing. And then we'll just clean that brush. Now take a real soft blender brush and just sit there and go back from the center out. Being real careful not to go back into the center with a dirty brush. You want to just keep working out. Just like so. Just using tiny X strokes. Just continue to work in a circular pattern going around the canvas. And you can see the colors starting to blend together. Now we're going to come up here with a little bit of lavender, but more to the burgundy side, or the red side. This is actually alizarin crimson and Prussian blue, but more crimson than blue. You're just making little circles with the fan brush, not leaving it set still long. Just little tiny circles. That's all we're doing, little tiny circles. Now we're going to take another color, like a white, with just a tiny amount of the lavender color in it, and just come back up and just barely touch these little cloud shapes we just made in certain areas, just to give them a little bit of lightness. Like that bright light back there is hitting them that we just made. Now don't take much of this color, just tiny, tiny amounts, just touching here and there. That's all we're doing. Just little tiny amounts. You can note that the pinky needs to really be out when you're doing that. I don't know if y'all noticed it or not, but the pinky needs to hang out. Now with a clean, dry 2-inch brush, we're gonna come back up and just lightly, with the corner of the brush, blend these colors together, that little light color we just added, and just blend it in real gentle. Just want to be real careful not to destroy what you've already made. Just trying to hypnotize it. That's what Bill Alexander used to call it. Just hypnotize it. Just barely touching it. And all that does is just set the little cloud right down in the sky up here. Just making tiny circles. That's all I'm doing. Just continuously blending. Now with the knife, add a little bit of mountain mix color. We'll come up here, using a lot of pressure, starting out, a lot of pressure. Trying to get that outside line as clean as we can get it. Will make us a little mountain shape. Now you can make the mountain any shape you want. I just normally go with a clean outside line and just let the mountain build itself, basically. But you want that outside line, I can't say that enough. You want that outside line to be clean and straight. You don't want it to have little pieces of paint sticking all out of it. Like little trees, you don't want little trees sticking out of your mountain right now. Just take that dark color and pull it out now with a clean, dry 1-inch brush. Just start pulling in. Get as close to that line as you can and pull out. Just pull it out and down. That's all we're doing. Get in there and pull it from the inside to the outside. That's all you got to do. Just being real careful. Clean outside lines. Don't get outside these lines if you can help it. And just pull that color from the inside out. And then just kind of blend out the bottom as you go. Creating that little mist. Everybody always wants that mist effect at the bottom of your mountain. Just come in there and pull out as much of that paint as you can. Now the color is going to stay in the fabric. You can't pull that color out. But you can pull a lot of that paint off. Sometimes that confuses people when you tell them to pull out as much as you can. All you're doing is pulling out excess paint. You're not removing the color. All right, with a little roll of white, right on the tip of the knife, right on the outside edge, you'll come up and just start barely pulling. Just barely pulling, no pressure. Letting that paint break. And that's what gives us our highlight effect. It looks like snow on the mountain. Just real light pressure. almost like a feather. And you just make your mountain shape. Just moving that paint a little at a time. The mountains can be made in so many different ways. So you make your mountain however you want your mountain to look. All right, now we'll come over to the other side here and just start adding a little bit more to the left side. Now you can see how I'm doing that. I'm just barely pulling down, no pressure at all. And the mountains are just a game of angles, that's all it is. Just like so. Real gentle. Now make sure you get good clean white at the tops. You want it to be real clean and white. But let it break. Let that paint break. Just like so. That's all you gotta do. Just remember, no pressure. I can't say that enough. No pressure. Now, for the shade colors, or the shadow colors, all I did was added just a little bit of white to the blue and the color we made the mountain out of. And you want to take, I just use the small edge because it's easier for me. You just come up here and just start pulling that color down. Get as close to your highlight in the mountain as you can. Sometimes you have to touch it. But just pull it down the opposite way that you pull down the highlight. And that's what gives your mountain that almost that split look. In the same way, no pressure. Just keep pulling that. Just keep pulling that color out and down. But do everything you can to stay inside the line. Don't get outside that line. If you do, it's going to mess up your whole mountain. You'll have to go back and your whole mountain will grow. Now we got just a tiny amount of that lavender color in there. And that's more to the red side. Real gentle. I wish I could explain to you really how gentle the pressure is, but I can't really tell you in words how gentle this is. The knife blade never is actually touching the canvas, it's just the paint. And you can always come back up, clean your highlight side back up. And just like that, you basically have a mountain. Using just little bits of paint, you can go back up and see spots that you think you need to add or take some off, whatever you need to do. At this point, that's what you can do. Just go back and gently, real gently, work on your mountain. Okay, next I'm gonna grab a filbert brush and I'm gonna come up here and start adding just a little bit more light color to my clouds and just work them out. Just remember, anytime you're dealing with clouds, just keep the brush moving. That's the trick. You don't want to sit in one spot and build up a big cotton ball. Just keep that brush constantly moving. Now this will add a three-dimensional look to your clouds. I hope y'all can see that. I wish I had some kind of way of zooming in on it. But I know you can do this with 2 or 3 different colors to add depth to your clouds. They just take on a whole new look. But now when you do this, the thing to remember is you have to go back up and blend them out just a small bit and fluff them back up. Just like we're doing right there. Alright, now with a clean dry brush, you want to come up here and just start tapping at the bottom, real light. Keep in mind to go in the same direction your mountain is. If it's going to the left, then tap to the left. If it's going to the right, then tap to the right. Follow the lines of your mountain. And that's all we're doing is just barely tapping around the bottom, mixing with that liquid white as we do that, and it's giving us that misty look. And then very gently pull that back in just to remove the brush strokes, back up towards your mountain in the same direction that you tap down. Just pull it right back up in there. And here I'm just blending out some of the cloud marks that we had up here. You know how when you're painting, you just see things and you just want to come back and tinker with them here and tinker with them there. All right, now we just want to kind of real softly move this color around, pull it back up. Leave yourself that little bit of mist there at the bottom of the mountain. That little bit of mist is so important. Just like so. That's all we're doing. Now I want to come up here and start adding some little evergreen trees. Just using just using the small fan brush. I want to take and just start pulling down. Just tapping and pulling down. That's all I'm doing. Forming these little evergreens that look like they're way off in the distance. And for these, you just want to make sure they're not all the same height. You just want to vary them. You know, some tall, some short, some fat, some skinny. Just make sure you don't make them all the same size. And the color I'm using here is the same color that I used to make the mountain out of, the mountain mix color, with a little bit of blue and a little bit of green mixed in it. It's just a real dark color. That's all it is. And just tapping and pulling down. Tapping and pulling down. That's all I'm doing. Now we'll come along here with that little 1-inch brush that has the white on it. And just kind of sort of tap out the bottom. There again, we're looking for that little layer of mist. That's all we're doing. Just by tapping out the bottom. That's all we're doing. Now if you need to add just a tiny amount of white to your brush, just do that. And just keep on tapping. Now I want to come back under that. Leave just a little of that mist. Don't kill all that mist. And tap up on the fan brush. Just pushing up. That's all we're doing. Just pushing up with the fan brush. Same colors. Just giving it a little bit of land shape under your distant trees. Now I want to start adding in a few little evergreens that look more like evergreens now. And these are the up evergreens. Give yourself a trunk and then push up on the fan brush this time, not down. You're pushing up. And it creates a totally different looking evergreen than if you pushing down. And we'll add one on the other side. Still pushing up. And you can see where I made these, the outside ones, I made them just a little bit taller. Brought them down just a little bit past where we started the other land. And then just push up. Give yourself a little bit of land under your trees. That's all we're doing. Just pushing up with the brush. And all I'm doing here is just adding a little bit of color by using just the corner of the fan brush. That's all I'm doing. Nothing real special. Just added just a tiny amount of yellow to the color. And now we're going to come in and close this little area in. Want it to look like a little meadow back here. Just tap it in some grass. That's all I'm doing. Just putting some color on the canvas. That's all. Do the same thing to this side. And just rub that color right on the canvas. You gotta have dark color under there for what we're gonna be doing here in a little bit. We're gonna add some more grasses, but you need a darker color down. That leaving that white there just really it won't let us do what we want to do when we get to that point. So but we're fixing to start coming into the foreground here in just a second. So right now we just got to go back up here and clean up a few things. Now I added just a tiny amount of yellow and white to the brush. Still in the sap green in that dark color. And you can see how now it's just, we just want to add a little bit of highlight back here. Keep in mind everything's still far away, but you still want your eye to see some of the stuff that's going on back there. You know, you don't want to just leave it all dull green looking. It is a paint, so you know, add a little highlight back in that, even in that far area, and then just a whole lot of tapping. You just want to keep tapping on that grass shape. I realized about halfway through this, I should have done it with a 2-inch brush. Because there's a lot of tapping with that 1-inch brush. But you got to put in that dark in order to see that light later on. That's the thing. In order to see your highlights later, you got to add the dark base now. And them highlights is usually when things start happening. You can have a dark base, but then you can come back and add just a little bit of color to something at a different angle, and it'll change it completely. And that's what the joy of painting's about. Just watching things happen. Usually here's where Bob would cut away and show you a bird or a squirrel or something, but I don't have birds or squirrels. So I'm just gonna let you watch me tap this color on, because that's all I'm doing. I'm just doing it with the foam brush. I should be using the 2-inch. That way it wouldn't have took near as long. And for that, I apologize. But hopefully just listen to the music and watch the tapping. I probably should have left the tapping sound in this video, kind of for that asthma effect, just where you could hear it. That's all I'm doing, is just tapping that color on. All right, now with a 2-inch brush, come up here adding just a little bit of highlight. And all that is the cad yellow and a little bit of the green color that's already on the brush. And you thin it down just a little, not much, just a little bit of thinner. You come up here and just add your highlight now. You can add a little yellow ochre, cad yellow, Indian yellow. Sometimes you can even sneak in a little bright red. And it all just adds to the effect of grass. Now, the closer you get to yourself in the foreground, the more color you want to add, because your eye starts seeing a little better once it gets closer to you. All right. Now that's looking pretty good. We're going to start now back up on the get that little spot right there. Blend it down on that. I don't know why that's, for some reason it looked like, I guess it could have been the light. It looked like something's on the cloud up there. Okay. Now let's pick us up a fan brush loaded with the mountain color, mountain mix, Prussian blue, and sap green. And we'll come up and give ourselves a trunk and just pushing up on these trees, make push-up trees. Same colors. We'll come right over here. And we'll put us another tree right in behind that one. And again, just pushing up on the bristles this time instead of pushing down. Making little up trees. That's all we're doing. Okay, load the brush up again. And we're going to do the same thing on this other side. And just like that, we made our trees. Now I'm going to come in with just a little bit of white with a little bit of brown mixed together. Real light brown color is all we're making. We're going to come in and give ourselves just a little chunk. Don't take much, just here and there in these trees. Just tiny roll of paint. Just stick. You can see how it just sticks to the paint. All right, now we'll come up here and start highlighting. We've got just a little bit of cad yellow, yellow ochre, and the green color. With just a tiny amount of thinner, very small amount of thinner. You just want to come over and start adding just a little bit of this color to our trees. Just add a little bit of highlight. Trying to keep the highlight as loose as you can. Try not to kill all the dark. You want your tree to have that round look to it. So highlighting one side helps a lot with that. If you can just keep your highlight to one side of the tree. Make sure you leave a lot of dark. The dark is just as important, if not more important, than the light right now. All right, what I did then was added just a tiny amount of white to it. I'm gonna come back and just touch a little bit of that color on it, just a very small amount. And you don't want to put this over the whole tree, just in a couple areas. Just to bring out that little bit of highlight. All right, now with a 2-inch brush, I'm going to come up and just start adding on just a little bit of highlight back in here. just clean up under our little grassy areas under our trees right here. Just adding a little bit of highlight there to clean that area up. Now it looks like you could just walk between the evergreens and get back there to the mountain. You want to add a little depth to it. That's by coming forward like that. That's what you do. You add depth to the painting. Now I want to add just a little bit of highlight to this grass area we made under the trees. Just there again, be careful not to kill all the dark. Just pushing up on a brush. That's all we're doing, just pushing up on that brush just a little bit. And I say it's a different color than your grass, so you can see it real good. All I'm doing right now is just going back over things, cleaning a few things up here and there. That's all I'm doing. You can even come back and add a little dark. That's what I'm doing right now. Putting a little dark back in there between the ground and the little grassy area. Kind of make it look like it's up off the ground a little. And that's what I was saying earlier. Sometimes the dark is as important as the light. Sometimes even more. But just by adding that dark color back in, you can see it brought it up off the ground. It gave it depth. Okay. Now, a little bit of bright red, a little thinner on the script liner brush. I want to come up here, put my H on it, which means it is complete now, and it's ready to go either on your wall or my wall, but it's ready for a frame and a wall somewhere. Now, I really hope y'all enjoyed watching me paint this. This was a fun painting to do. I'm glad to be back after my injury. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. Have a great day.